possible with Flash to design things called buttons which have certain actions attached to them. There are some sample ones here in Common Library Elements, buttons, and you'll see that there are some already made for you, which we can preview in a second or two. There we go. And you can put behaviours to those buttons, such as going to a website or playing a sound. We'll look at that later. Let's create one of our own for the moment so that you can see how it's all done. If you go to Insert, New Symbol, now a button is really a symbol. A symbol is something that's stored in the library and won't change, but you can drag copies of it onto your timeline and make changes to them. You can have movie clip symbols, graphic symbols, or buttons. We're going to have a button. Now we'll call the button Go, so that it's got a name, and immediately it tells me that I've already got one called Go, so I need to give it a new name, so I'll call it Go2. So I'm going to create a button called Go2. Now it takes us into an editing screen with a little cross. You can see it says Scene 1 there, and it says Go2. The cross will be the centre of our button. If we hold down the Alt key as we pull out a shape, it'll draw it from the centre. So I've got the cross in the middle there. Don't really like it to be all black. What we're going to do is we're going to create what the button will look like before you do anything to it, what we call its up state. We'll put the word Go onto there. Let's assume that we're going to have this as a button that will take us to another part of an animation at some stage. Put the word Go in. Unfortunately, Go is the same colour as the background, so we'll change that to white or black, so you can see the word Go. This is what our button will look like before we do anything to it. If you click on the timeline word, it'll show you that there are 4 possible states for this button, one in each frame of the timeline: the up, the over, the down, and the hit. Now you'll also notice a little black dot in that frame, meaning it's a key frame. More about keyframes in a moment. You can insert in the over state another keyframe, insert timeline keyframe. Just means that when you insert a keyframe, it will copy what's in the previous keyframe. As you can see, it's copied that Go icon or button exactly as it was. If you deselect it and select it, we can then change it. Let's make the outside green and the inside white, so when we hover over it, that's what it will look like. We then need to put in another keyframe, which you can do by right clicking or pressing F6 and insert keyframe. Again, it will copy the previous one as it has done, deselect, select it again, and change it to what you want it to look like when it's clicked. Let's say we want the outside to be grey and the inside, rather not have it black, let's have the inside yellow. So we've now got the 3 states of our button. We'll talk about the hit state a little bit later on. You can see the 3 different states in the 3 keyframes if you click on each one individually. That's the up state before anything's done, the hover state as you hover over it, and the down state as you've clicked it. What we now need to do is to get out of this editing screen, so let's go back to scene 1 by clicking at the top there, and we've got nothing. Now that button will automatically be stored in our library under the buttons headings. So if you go to Windows and Library, you'll see that there it is, and there are other buttons stored there as well. It's stored under Common Buttons. If we just drag an instance of it onto the screen, remember the original will stay in the library exactly as it was, and now we have instances of it on our stage. In order to view it, you need to go to Control and Enable Simple Buttons, just so that we can see whether it does what we want it to do. That's its up state. When you hover over it, you get its hover state, up state, hover state, and when you click on it, you get its down state. So it all works. Later, we'll show you how to put behaviors to that so you can make something happen.